I'd like to take this opportunity to assure the business community and the public at large that we are, and indeed going forward, we shall consistently and decisively also stem any instability in our foreign exchange markets and push towards restoring confidence in the Kenya shilling. We are doing this, again, after careful review of the factors that have contributed to the recent instability. And here we note that the ongoing weakening of the Kenya shilling is not really being driven by changes in our economic fundamentals. Indeed, our underlying broad economic conditions remain largely sound, and there is no need to panic as the government continues to take decisive and firm actions to restore stability. I'd also like to say that it is also evident that the recent weakening in our currency has been occasioned by two main factors, namely the increased genuine demand for foreign exchange to meet imports for production and consumption, but also demand pressures from market players who have taken positions that are largely driven by uncertainty in the market, and this is something that we are also hoping to deal with. While a number of actions have already been taken to address the recent challenges, we are also ready to do more to ensure that stability is restored. And in this respect, the actions that we are announcing today are also aimed at ensuring that, first and foremost, foreign exchange is available to meet genuine demand, while at the same time trying to discourage unproductive foreign exchange trading. Ladies and gentlemen, you know we are coming out of a major drought, and as such, some of the actions, again, that we are taking confident that the current pressures on prices and indeed the exchange rate will subside in line with measures that we intend to take, and this, we believe, will also be supported by the expected decline in international oil prices and indeed the good harvest that is beginning to reach markets in various parts of the country. Both of these will, we believe, reduce the demand for imports, lower food prices, and also help in stabilizing the exchange rate. In the meantime, the government will be taking the following measures to ease inflation and to stabilize the shilling exchange rate. To this end, at the Treasury, we do support the CBK's stance to tighten liquidity by raising the policy rate by 400 basis points to 11%. And we also support the CBK's actions in the money markets to tighten credit conditions, as well as their readiness to take further action, including increasing the cash ratio requirement if necessary. These actions will reduce demand pressure, and we believe that this in turn will ease inflation and stabilize the exchange rate. We further support the CBK's action to lower with immediate effect the foreign exchange exposure limit of commercial banks from 20% to 10%. We welcome CBK's readiness also to meet any genuine demand for foreign exchange through the interbank market. And we also welcome CBK's action to revive the Forex Dealers Forum that will allow commercial bank treasurers to freely interact with the Central Bank of Kenya to ensure that large foreign exchange transactions are met indeed in an orderly manner. In order to assure ample supply of foreign exchange, the government will also, from today, commence discussions with the IMF mission that is already in the country for additional resources under the ongoing Extended Credit Facility, ECF arrangement that we have with them. And indeed, on our part at the Treasury, in order to mitigate the impact of tightening monetary policy on interest rates, We will indeed, and have begun already, to review government expenditure with a view in cutting back, especially on non-priority areas. Finally, again working with the Central Bank of Kenya, the government has taken steps to review the Central Bank of Kenya Act in line with the new constitution, with a view to enhancing the effectiveness of monetary policy. Meanwhile, the CBK has already taken steps to enhance capacity in monetary policy operations. We will continue, as we have done today, to encourage and foster closer consultations between the CBK and commercial banks on issues related to financial matters. Overall, I am personally confident that with these actions, we will encourage banks to realign their own portfolios, to stem capital outflows, and to boost foreign exchange reserves, thereby restoring stability in the shilling and the exchange rate in the immediate term. In conclusion, the government does wish to reaffirm the underlying economic conditions are indeed broadly sound, and it does remain committed to restore macroeconomic stability. Lastly, again, I would wish to call upon all players in the foreign exchange market to trade responsibly, as their actions will ultimately affect the business community and indeed all Kenyans. I want to make it categorically clear that the government has no intention whatsoever to reverse its current policies. We have stated clearly that we do not see a problem with our policies. We are indeed experiencing current spikes, but there is no intention whatsoever to revert to a regime of exchange control. We have been operating a liberalized economy. We have seen the overall benefits of that, and hence there is no intention whatsoever to reverse that policy. So I want that to be very, very, very clear. In terms of further actions to deal with the current volatility, yes, I think, as I've said in my statement, I think the governor has said that we will continue to review the actions that we have taken in consultation with players in the market on a regular basis, and if need be, take further actions or change or adjust some of the actions that we have taken, because the ultimate overall objective is to ensure that we restore stability in the markets and we restore overall macro stability, which is important not just to the government, but also to the players and the country, in order for us to be able to achieve our socio-economic goals that we have set out for ourselves. So consequently, actions will be reviewed on a regular and an ongoing basis as we deal with this situation going forward.
Yesterday we had a meeting with the governors of the East African region, East African community, and they are all facing the same kind of crisis. But for us, the point we took from there is that any coordinated policy actions, both with the market and from a policy point of view, is very desirable. And third, I think I want to echo what Richard has said, market stability and predictability is very, very critical. The measures that we have taken as central bank, and the minister has actually outlined them, actually will be reviewed on the basis of when KBA and the central bank meet. So essentially right now we are talking about the 10% exposure limit in terms of foreign currency. But we want to make sure that the market, because it's our market, we have to develop it. And we can only develop it when we are partners. We'll be subject to review in terms of, from day to day, in terms of how we see the market behaving. But all of us are agreed that what we want is stability and predictability in the market. For tightening monetary policy, most of the questions I get is, what are you doing? Essentially, we are intensifying the mop-up because excess liquidity is actually tightening liquidity that will help us reduce the pressures from inflation. But essentially what you have seen and what we have agreed with, even with the central bank operations themselves, is to intensify monetary operations or open market operations. And that means that we are going to use the vertical repos to mop up. But there are also seasonal cycles in terms of liquidity, especially when VAT is being paid. That is the time we also try to deal with reverse repo to help the market. But those two operations are going to be intensified so that we actually deal with liquidity and remove any pressure on inflation.
I'd also like to add that as a bankers association, we are fully committed and supportive of the Ministry of Finance actions and the initiatives undertaken by the central bank to ensure stability in the macroeconomic environment and in particular stability of the Kenya shilling. The third point is also to reiterate what the minister has said, that it is our view that there is nothing fundamentally wrong with the fundamentals of the Kenyan economy, and that all apart from the high inflation rate, the economy is in a much stronger position now than it has been in a very long time. Given that scenario, we do recognize the need for both the Central Bank of Kenya, the Ministry of Finance, and the banks to work together to ensure macroeconomic stability, to ensure that the players in the market have full information, and to remove any perceptions that there may be with regard to the weakness or otherwise of the Kenya shilling. Let me conclude by saying that the much talked about rift between the Kenya Bankers Association and the central bank is highly exaggerated. We continue to work very closely together with the central bank. The central bank continues to consult the Bankers Association on many initiatives, including those announced by the minister today, and we are fully in support of the initiatives that are going forward, and we believe that working together we will be able to achieve the objectives that the minister has outlined.
God bless you all. Thank you, and once again we apologize for